About 24 hours after uploading my most recent production, I caught wind of a fiasco, a dust-up that is taking place on the BWE, also known as Black Women Empowerment, Swirl Nation, Divestment camp. I pretty much kind of lump all these groups up into the same thing because they got very consistent trends with each other. And two that I would reference is the thread of them being consistent of them, number one, hating black men, and number two, that they can't seem to get along with each other and are always going out their way to destroy one another, despite the fact that they try to reference that all of their issues center around black men. But here we have a situation that is taking place with Crystalline Carrison that ended up involving Cynthia G and Chrissy. Now, before I get into that, let me just let it be known that I got a phone call from David Carroll, and we agreed to doing a 2-part collaboration. So depending on how soon I can get this up, it might be up just a little before he uploads his. I believe he's gonna have his on his rabbit hole. Or depending on what I manage to get done, I might get it done sometime late this coming weekend, if we're not already there. But what I'm gonna reference is a talking point that I used in my last production. And I briefly spoke on it when it came down to these individuals, and I stated that if you think you are going to get something useful out of listening to any female or any individual that produces content on this minuscule level, essentially watching channels that have not evolved and have stayed stuck on the same level as they were 5 or 10 years ago, then you were deeply mistaken. And this fallout once again substantiates that, but let me just run down the list. And the angle that I'm going to come at with here is for those of you who find yourselves being taught, and I say it's like this. You know, just like when it comes down to your politicians, you need to vet them thoroughly to know what their policies are, where they stand, what agendas they have, which is something that a lot of black people don't do. Is the same way when it comes down to when you allow an individual to come on social media and classify themselves as a teacher, an instructor, an advisor, or an informer of any way, shape, or form, and in this case pertaining to black women, then you need to thoroughly know their damn background and understand their track record. What are your results? Because for years now, we've seen the foolish squabbles that the pink pill has gotten into day in and day out. Now, I could sit here and listen. I told you the pink pill's marriage was going to fall apart, and that is exactly what happened. I told you the pink pill and people who think like this were not capable of maintaining or sustaining healthy relationships, whether it be within the race or outside the race, and this is exactly what we've seen has taken place recently. Because there was a situation that took place on the Clubhouse. Now, I don't know anything about Clubhouse. Only thing I know about this is another live streaming app that the pink pill frequents quite often. And y'all know what took place there. But before I even get into that, now the information is coming out that the pink pill is either legally separated or is completely divorced from her husband. I told y'all this. This predates all the way back up until 2015. I told y'all this. I told you that even if that man was living in a house, and I said this back then, 5 or 6 years ago, that they're either staying on 2 separate sides of the house, or he sleeps in one room, she sleeps in another. And even if he's physically there, he is mentally checked out a long time ago. I've told you this. And if he is mentally checked out, it's only a matter of time before he physically checks out. And if he physically checks out, it's only a matter of time before he terminates that license, that marriage contract. Because that's all that really is. And now, lo and behold, this is exactly what we're dealing with. So this goes ahead and substantiates one of my points. Because Crystalline Carrison, aka the Pink Pill, classifies herself as being some sort of teacher of black women about how to navigate in certain spaces that she herself doesn't even know how to navigate in. About how to go out here and make yourself attractive, and we know she's talking about white men, and she herself can't even keep one. And what we have witnessed here is an individual who engages in high school childish-like tactics. And let me go ahead and explain this to you. The last time I did a thorough video addressing her bullshit was back in January of this very same year, 2021. I believe I titled it The Pink Pill Pipe Dream, somewhere along those lines. Beyond that point, I really have not been paying attention to her because, as I stated in the last production, she's irrelevant. The information that she is giving you is useless. This is not information that's going to help you moving forward. With everything that faces you right now, figuring out how you can go out here as a black woman dating white guys is not going to be anything that's going to be beneficial to what's taking place right here and right now in 2021. I told you, we're not dealing with the time frame of 2014, 2015, 2016. Those are completely different time frames. Completely different era. We are moving into some very strange times. And once again, if you are under the impression with everything that sits right in your face, that's sitting around listening to a female teach you on how you can get with white guys, and you think you're going to get something tangible out of that, listen, you got another thing coming. You truly are lost. And just to go ahead and substantiate, or not to substantiate, but to highlight something that I stated, in that production that I made back in January addressing the pink pill, I made a reference while having a previous conversation with David Carroll before making that production. David Carroll would often reference her community tabs. And every time he would reference, hey, this is what I'm seeing on her community tab, I could not find anything on her community tabs. And this went on, this might have been for over a year, maybe even 2 years, of him saying, hey, this was what I'm seeing on her tabs, and I can't see it. To the point where his brother would have to screenshot the information to send it to me. And so I'm sitting down on my laptop. I can't see anything on her community tab. But I'm telling him, I said, listen, I can't see nothing at all. There is literally nothing on this tab. And what he's seeing is, listen, I can see things from months ago. So I go to my cell phone. The same thing. I can't find anything. I go to my tablet. It's the same thing on all 3 different devices. So I say, well, you know what? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. So I decided to try something different. I said, let me try going to a different account and trying to view this community tab from a different account. And lo and behold, as soon as I do that, I'm able to see posts on this community tab that she made months ago. There's only one reason why that was. That's because the pink pill had blocked me on my Brother of Logic and Common Sense channel, which is fine. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I would say maybe about 2 weeks, maybe more, maybe less, I can't really remember, because this is how much I've tried to fall off of this subject. But I've been seeing posts from the Pink Pills community tab showing up on my timeline. I'm not really talking about videos too much, but I'm talking about community tabs that she was putting up. Now you have to ask the question, I just mentioned that from what I can remember, I was blocked from the pink pill for at least a year or more. And how do we know this? Is because I was unable to see the post on her community tab. So why is it now that all of a sudden I'm starting to see posts? Because I've seen pictures of her with her new boyfriend, Mr. E, as she calls him, this white guy that she wants to prove that she can go out and get. Now I'm seeing posts of her hugged up with this man. And it didn't dawn on me at that point in time, but I'm thinking, as I'm sitting down listening to this entire story unfold, then it starts to hit me. Wait a second. Why is it that I was able to see community posts that she was leaving up if she had previously blocked me? Now, of course, I can't see them now because she has her channel set to private. Nobody can view it. Now, some of y'all might believe that, oh, well, they flagged her channel. No, her channel's not flagged down. She simply set it to private. Now, maybe it has a strike, and in order to keep the whole channel from going down, she figures, let me just go ahead and leave it to private for about a month. And don't be surprised if about a month and a half, she emerges back on YouTube. But I guarantee you it's coming. But the point that I'm making is there's only one way that I can see these community tabs, and that is unless she unblocked me. I want you to think about who you're dealing with. And this is the mind frame of a pink pill. As I've told you in the past, what you are dealing with is a mentally disturbed woman who is ill-equipped to give the advice that she preaches. Because what we are dealing with is a woman in her mid-40s. I believe Kristen McCarrison is 44 years old. And yet she is sitting online. Now just think about this for a second. For years, as she's been with or married to Chris Carrison or Michael Carrison, I think that's what his name is. The few times that she can actually produce him in a video, it was very vague. Nothing of his face, showing him walking the back of his head while he walks into a movie theater, or won't even lift the camera beyond his chin because she doesn't want him to know that she's secretly recording him. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the challenge that David Carroll has issued to her to produce your husband. And if you can produce your husband in a video, showcasing him in a video, then he will shut his channels down, both of them. She has not done this. But the first chance out of all the years that she's been with him, she has not done this. Now, mind you now, who knows how long she's been divorced or legally separated. But it had to have taken place sometime within this year. In a matter of months, of just a few months of being with this new guy, this new white guy that she's with, she could not wait to plaster him all over her timeline and her community tabs. She could not wait to show all of her supporters and even the ones who disapprove of her. Look at my new white guy that I'm with. The first chance she did, she got him on a public panel like Clubhouse, to where some random black guy that nobody knows from a can of paint, that has no clout and no credibility and literally is a nobody on social media spaces, and allowed this one individual to literally turn her entire platform upside down. This is what is taking place. This is an individual who is so petty, who is so mentally fucked up in the head, that she felt the need to go ahead and unblock me. Now, ask the question, I tried to figure out at first, why does she even feel the need to block me? It's not like I post comments on her videos. But it's not to discredit that, because maybe she blocked me for the sole purpose of my content not showing up in the recommended feed. Fine, I can deal with that. If that's how you feel, I don't have a problem with that. But typically when you block somebody, I know when I block somebody, I'll block you and that's it. I don't even think about you after that. I'm done. So then why is it to a point of, why would she take the time to go out of her way to unblock me? And I'm going to tell you this much right now. She wanted to ensure that these images of her and this Mr. E guy that now we all know on the Clubhouse stated that, I guess, yeah, I am a nigga lover. She wanted to ensure that this would make its way to my timeline. She wanted to be sure that I would see this shit. It wouldn't surprise me if she, and I'm not going to say that this is what happened, but it just would not surprise me if she went out of her way to make sure that that shit came up on my timeline. Because as I've told you before, it's been months since I've sat down and listened to any of her videos. I don't care about what she's talking about. She's irrelevant. But this is how petty this individual is. This is a YouTube content creator who doesn't know me, who lives all the way on the other side of the country, 2 different time zones from me. I'm in New York, you're in California. You don't know anything personal about me. You don't know anything directly about me other than what I put out here on these channels. But yet and still, this is an individual who felt the need to verify her relationship status to somebody who she doesn't even know, and to, quite frankly, somebody who really can care less. Now, I want y'all to understand this much about me. I've been on YouTube for a little over a decade, a little over 10 years now. She's been on YouTube for over 12 years now. I've had numerous times where dudes say, oh, show your woman, show who you with. How come you don't put no... Listen, I'm not verifying my personal life to none of you. That's just the way that goes down. I don't have shit to prove to anybody. So you can rest assured that I will never in my life waste my time verifying myself to a crystalline Karazin. You are just simply not worth it. That's how little I view of you. That's how little I think about you. Once I make these productions, I completely forget about what the fuck I done said about your ass to begin with, because I don't care. I drop the production and I leave it alone. I move on past it. Unless something else comes up to my damn inbox or on my timeline. But yet this is a female who is in her mid-40s. I'm in my late 30s. Listen, in my early 20s, I wouldn't have gone out my way to verify shit to anybody had I been on social media at that time. I didn't do it in my late 20s. I didn't do it in my early 30s. There has never been a point in time where anybody's seen me verifying my personal relationship status, whether I be single or whether I'm in a relationship, to anybody. I just won't do it. Now, I want you to think about this. I'm not a college educated man. I'm a trades personnel, blue collar brother. I don't claim to be a teacher of any sort. But yet you have a college educated female who has written books, a life coach, a life guru, a teacher of black women, who's in her mid-40s, and now mind you now, I'm in my late 30s. I didn't do this shit in my 20s. Who feels the need to go out of her way to ensure that her adversaries, yours truly, the brother of logic and common sense, would see the first chance she can get a white guy in a video or in a picture with her that shows that anything that he gives a fuck, that bam, there you have it. She's gonna go out her way to verify and substantiate herself to people that honestly, if you think she doesn't give a damn, then she's lying to you. She's lying. Now, for years now, she's tried to tell you that people like myself were desperately chomping at the bit to find out what was in the pink pill. I told you this shit back in 2018 when she launched that pink pill. I don't care what the hell is in that damn thing. That's not my problem. But what I really want to hone in on is the fact that you have an individual who has been on YouTube, and as I told you back then when I made that classic video addressing that foolishness the first time she went ahead and hit her channel because she got into some squabble with another content creator. But I told you back then that when you look at the lights of a crystalline Karazin, this is a seasoned veteran. You're a seasoned veteran here on YouTube, which means you should know how to operate within this space, to not have your personal information put out there, to not have your family doxxed, to not have your husband's job put out here, to your address, to where the fuck you live. None of these things should even be public. But yet and still, year after year, and this happens every year, multiple times a year. That was what, about 3.5 years ago? Every single year, you get into another foolish, ridiculous squabble or conflict with with people that you don't even know. And as I'm sitting back looking at how you get into these situations, the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a favorable outcome and getting nothing. Let me rephrase that. The definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a certain result or expecting a different result while getting the same non-favorable result. This is what I've seen out of this pink pill. You have learned absolutely nothing. And then she sits up here, and y'all know what took place on the clubhouse. A random black dude that nobody knows from a can of paint was able to get her husband to say, well, I guess I am a nigger lover. This created a firestorm. And the reason why it has done this because for a while now, she must have thought she had some momentum building up. She must have thought, I'm going to prove all the naysayers wrong. That brother of logic and common sense, I'm going to show him that I can get me a Brad, that I can get me a Waldo. And look, here you have it. And just as quickly as she thinks she's gaining momentum with that, immediately, what has happened is everything that black men have been saying about these interracial relationships that y'all try to portray as if they're so fucking great, that right there only substantiates the talking points of what we've been saying a long time ago. Furthermore, putting holes in her argument. Furthermore, damaging her credibility. And this is what also lets you know just how sloppy she is. Because has she learned anything, nobody would even know who this dude is. Only people who know her personally would know that she's in a whole new relationship with another white guy. She is so fucking sloppy that she would go forth to put this out here. And this is just how stupid she is. Because, listen, her husband could have filed for divorce a long time ago if we know that recently that this is actually taking place. And we know, what is it that men typically state when they are thinking about getting divorced? It's cheaper to keep them. It's cheaper to keep her. You know what? I better just go ahead and roll with the punches, because if I try to file for divorce, she's going to take me for everything that I'm worth. And for a while now, this is what me and David Carroll was under the conclusion of. I would say up until a couple of years, my stance has changed on that. Because as I'm sitting back and watching her engaging in her foolish tactics that she has done, if her husband has any sense in his damn head, all he has to do if he wants to file for divorce and walk away with his clean slate, or as a matter of fact, he probably can get something out of her if that's what he wanted to do. But why? And why do I say this? Because there is enough documented evidence of you engaging in foolishness on YouTube that he can get you for. If he wanted to say, look, my wife was engaging in infidelity. Look, she's going to Las Vegas, meeting up with other white guys. She's hugged up with some random dude over here. Who are these men? I don't know them. She's going all the way to Italy. I'm not in these videos with her. I'm not on vacation with her, meeting up with her single girlfriends. What were you doing over there? So not only can he prove infidelity if that's what he wanted to make, or I'm not going to say, well, maybe he can prove it. I don't know. But if he can't prove it, if those talking points that I've just used, or what I just documented does not prove infidelity, he has, at a bare minimum, he could at least make a strong argument. But he doesn't need infidelity, because he can use other things that can work to his advantage. And he can simply say, listen, this woman has put my children in danger. Look at the videos that she made. This happened in 2018. And this is just one incident where her daughter's information was being put on these fake YouTube accounts and Facebook accounts. This has happened numerous different times. His address being put out there, his work location being put out there, maybe even people contacting his job, letters being sent to his fucking home. With all that right there in itself, that's all he needs to say, listen, this woman is a danger. She is a danger to me, and this is why I want out. And she is a danger to my children, which is why I need full custody. And guess what? She needs to pay spousal support or child support or whatever, alimony, whatever. This is how sloppy the pink pill is. See, this is not what and pretty much I guarantee you no one has brought up this talking point but myself. No one. Because a lot of y'all ain't thinking along those damn lines. And I'm talking about you, the black women who are foolish enough to run out here and follow an individual who is literally leading you to a goddamn slaughterhouse. She could not lead herself to a goddamn toilet, let alone lead black women as a damn collective. And I'm talking about a college-educated female who doesn't have enough foresight to keep herself out of falling into foolish fallouts every chance she gets into. And there were numerous and countless different red flag signs that show you that this woman's life is fucked up. Her personal life is fucked up. It's been fucked up for quite some time, and now it's exposing itself. It's rearing its ugly head, and she can't contain it anymore. She knows this. She knows she's losing credibility. Furthermore, on how we know her personal life is going down the goddamn tubes, look at her oldest daughter. If that's not the greatest example to as of why no woman with sense in her head should find herself in 2021 listening to a pink pill, taking pink pill packages, paying for that foolishness. Listen, I don't need to know what the hell is in there to know that it's a waste of goddamn time. When you can get online year after year and make a complete fucking ass out of yourself, situation that you should have never been into. And every time she gets caught up in one of these situations, then here come the crocodile tears. Let me tell you about the pink pill. Let me tell you a little something about her right now. See, the pink pill wants to be a white female. She wishes she was a Becky. She tries to conduct herself and think that somehow she has white woman status, and she doesn't. She tries to convey the black women as a collective how provided by and protected for she is, and she can't prove it. What you see and what you are witnessing is a woman who is a flat out fucking failure. That's what you're dealing with. And over the years, many black women have started to realize it. Over the years, many black women who had an issue with the things I was saying, who don't like me, have had to come to an understanding that, listen, I might not like that brother, but I can't refute what he's saying. Over the years, many of them have figured this out. She is losing credibility, she is losing momentum, and she knows this. She's not welcome in the white spaces, as Brian Solange did a brilliant expose showcasing that bullshit about a year and a half ago. She doesn't fit in black spaces. She can't get along with black women. I mean, this is exactly what we're dealing with. A wannabe Becky. What was it, a video where I think it was toward the end of one of her live streams, some dude called in or whatever, and the women that were on there just went off on him. And what she did was she let them handle it, and she started painting her fingernails. She wants to showcase once again that she's a provided by and protected woman, and she's not. Two prominent examples of this is, number one, her husband nowhere to be found, not even at the expense of his own children being in harm's way. Nowhere to be found. All the time she got on YouTube and tried to cry the crocodile tears. What is she doing? She's using a white woman's tactic. That's why she does this shit. Now, it might work for white women. However, it don't work for your black ass. Because at the end of the goddamn day, you're not a white woman. But this is literally what she does. Number two, it showcases that she's not a protected and provided for a woman, is this whole entire fiasco with Mr. E. Now, when this black man got online, and the funny thing is, this is what she's trying to do. She's trying to deflect and say, well, you shouldn't be worrying about what Mr. E said, which is the guy that has an obligation to her black ass. Worry about some random black man who has no obligation to me, who doesn't know me from a can of paint, that I don't know from a can of paint, who has no relevance, who shouldn't even be in this space asking questions to begin with. I want y'all to think about that. And it wouldn't surprise me if this was a clubhouse chat that she was hosting, that you decided to let some random nobody, the same group of men that you claim to want nothing to do with, why would you even have him on there asking a question to your white boyfriend? Think about it. What fucking woman with common sense thinks like this? The very same group of women that run around talking this divestment bullshit, you see that they are 100% invested. Y'all can't stop thinking about black men. As I told y'all, she went out of her way to unblock me. Why? Because you can't stop thinking about black men, which is probably another reason why you offered me your number back in 2015. Miss me with it. I don't want nothing to do with you. But the example of when you had some random black guy ask a man who was obligated to you, and once again, pay attention to this. She's trying to get the onus off of her boyfriend, who is white, by the way, to say, who also has an obligation to her, to love her as well as respect her. Now, a random dude, she's gonna tell you, well, how come y'all are not upset with this black guy who called a black woman a nigger? Okay, this black guy does not know you. If this was somebody that you knew personally, that you were friends with, that's a little different. If this were a family member, that'd be a little different. This is a random nobody. First of all, why was he on the panel in the first place? Why was he there? Why didn't you remove him? Why was he allowed to fucking dig so deep in and get a man who you would classify, and I'm going off of what the pink pill would state now, who will be looked at as a professional, and get him to conduct himself like a complete jackass? You see, the obligation is not on some random dude to protect you. Just like when you got into that situation with the Veganator back in 2016, the obligation was not on black men to protect you. The obligation was on your husband to protect you. Once again, something that did not happen. And when your man, which should have been protecting you, and I'm talking about the new dude that's in the picture, Mr. E, as you refer to him as, who should have been protecting you when some random black guy out of nowhere that nobody knows from a can of goddamn paint or a hole in a fucking wall comes out and says, so I guess you're a nigger lover. Referring to Mr. E's woman, which is who? The pink pill, aka Crystalline Karazin. A man, the response that he gave is not the response of a man who is a protector. To say, yeah, I guess I am a nigger lover. What he really just showcases that you're fetishized for being a goddamn bed wench. He just wants a piece of, okay, let me just back that down. And I don't even use terminology like bed wenching, things of that nature, but what it really showcases is this is what he thinks of you. So I'm not saying this because I'm necessarily calling her this. This is what Mr. E thinks of you. And this is what he showcased directly. Because that was not a response of a man who is protecting his woman. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. If a man wants to protect his woman and some random dude got on the panel and called his woman a whore, in many cases, even if that were true, most men are not going to turn around and respond by saying, well, I guess I do love whores, or I am a lover of whores now, don't I? No. A man whose response is that of a protector is going to be, what the fuck did you just say about my woman? Let me tell you something, dude. Don't you ever talk like that about my woman again. Ever. Let me do you one better. If Mr. E were in a relationship with a white female and had her on that panel, and some random guy asked her, so, you're a lover of Neanderthals, aren't you? Referring to his white girlfriend as a Neanderthal. Do you think he would have responded back and said, well, yeah, I guess I really do love Neanderthals, now don't I? Hell no, he wouldn't have responded like that. Not for one goddamn second. See, Crystalline Karazin knows this, and this is why this turned her world completely upside down. Because what this showcases is that this protection, and that these white guys that want you and care about you so much, who are going out their way to protect you, are nowhere to be found when it comes down to really showing true protection. That when someone is outright disrespecting his woman, that he's not going to go forth to actually defend his woman. He's going to go out his way and disrespect his woman, because this is what he really thinks of you, and the only thing is, it just came out to light. That's all it was. That's what that was. You can't blame this shit on black men. So now what the pink pill is trying to do is she's trying to blame black women. Now, this is your fault. This is your fault. No. You're a sloppy individual. You are mentally deranged in the head. You need to go ahead and get your fucking head examined. You don't learn from your mistakes. You have no fucking foresight to understand when you're walking right into a goddamn train wreck. And if a random dude, and let me tell you something right now about this Julius guy. Just listening to him being interviewed by Tanya TKO and Cynthia G and Crystalline Karazin, which I'm going to address that later on. This guy's not wrapped too damn tight. He's not all that bright. So what I'm trying to figure out, if a guy who's not all that bright, and yet Crystal Carrison is a college-educated woman, has wrote books, has been on well-published platforms, okay? You would figure she would be smart enough then to not find herself getting her whole shit turned upside down by a random nobody who can't even articulate a proper sentence without making a fucking ass out of himself. How do you explain this? But yet and still, you classify yourself as a teacher of black women. What are you teaching black women? How to make the same dumbass decision that you do? If you're going to be a teacher of black women, in the first place it starts is with your children, and we can see with your oldest daughter that your teachings really ain't done her no goddamn good. And just as an example, I'm not going to go in on her daughter. I'm not going to do that. But what I will reference is some information that I've seen about a year ago. And I found this out, that her daughter was engaged in all kinds of crazy behavior over a year ago. And this wasn't due to black men digging up her information or snooping her. This was black women that found this out and posted this shit publicly. But now, let's just think about her daughter, who is currently in New York City. It's going on, what's it been, about 5 years now? She's been in New York. She came down here in 2016. We all know this because this is when the pink pill decided it would be a wise decision for her to get on camera, send her daughter out of her own college dorm room so she can use the time for herself to make a video trying to put on her white girl tears. Think about that. Also, from what I understand, the daughter is no longer in college. Hasn't attended college, from what I understand, for a couple of years now. So if she's no longer going to college, why is she still living in New York City? The pink pill brags about how she lives in a nice, I think, a 4-bedroom home up in the hills of Hollywood. So then why would your daughter not want to come home if she's no longer in college? And I also got this in my war chest. I'm not going to produce it, but just understand I could if I wanted to. Because your daughter was posting posts about roommates, needed a roommate to help her pay her rent. So, and this is over a year ago when I seen this. So it's obvious that if it's not currently taking place now, then at some point in time, she was struggling to make ends meet living in New York City. First of all, why the hell would anybody want to come from California to New York City? I really don't even know. But yet, why would, instead of her leaving a post asking for roommates, why would she not just go back home? I mean, you got the nice Palm Beaches of California, sunny weather all year long. You don't have much chances of it getting all that cold over there because that only happens mainly in the Northeast. So why would your daughter find herself moving to California? I mean, staying in New York. Why would she not come back home? And like I said, if you look at her daughter, I mean, just some of the places that she's worked out, the Box, some place in the middle of Manhattan, somewhere around Times Square, where they engage in burlesque shows. And if you look at some of the people that are involved with that shit, these are some pretty demonic looking characters. And I reference this not to go in on her daughter, but to just simply make the point, if you could not do a better job raising her, then what the fuck are you supposed to do for black women as a collective? As I've told you, black women, time and time again, if you are under the impression that in 2021 that you are going to gain something tangible out of this channel, and many of y'all have realized that this ain't the place you need to be. This ain't who you need to be getting your cues from and your talking points from and your guidance from, because they clearly couldn't guide themselves out of a wet paper bag with fucking holes in it. There is no other way that you can explain all of these meaningless situations that she really has no business being in, and she gets caught up in them time and time again. Now, what I want y'all to understand, this leads me to Cynthia G. Because Cynthia G is someone else who lacks foresight. So what I'm trying to figure out is how is it that black women find themselves listening to this individual? Now, once again, this is another college-educated individual. Loves to boast and brag about how she has a degree in psychology. But yet you lack foresight on a basic level. Yet you could not see what Crystal and Carrison was doing all along for over a year now. Because as I've told y'all, and what many of y'all already know, the pink pill is losing traction. She is not as relevant as she once was. This is another reason why she's going out of her way to unblock people like myself, because she wants the attention. This is why she'll get online and do some foolishness every so often. Because her talking about this pink pill, level up, buy my courses, people aren't buying that bullshit. They're done with her. And she knows this. Now Waldo has checked out of the fucking picture. She got a new Brad, and that shit's about to be ruined. She ain't learned the first time that her previous marriage was fucked up because she did not know how to separate her personal life from the internet. And instead of learning behind that, she goes right back into that same situation head first with a whole new man in her damn life. This just shows you the lack of critical thinking that is non-existent amongst this individual. And this is what I've noticed about these divestors, these failed swirlers. Y'all are delusional. You are completely devoid of logic and reasoning. Critical thinking is non-existent, and it's an insult when I listen to Cynthia G run her goddamn mouth and talk about critical thinking. You ain't got no business talking about critical thinking, because we know good and damn well, and this is a proven track record, that you are not a critical thinker. There are many things that you are. A critical thinker is not one of them. Now, once again, I want y'all to pay attention to the pattern that Crystal and Carrison was using. Crystal and Carrison knew that she was losing relevance, so she had to find other people to latch herself onto. This is another reason why she found herself calling into Kevin Samuel's program and planning to do a collaboration with him, and then claiming after black women called her out on her bullshit that I didn't know he was like that. No, you knew this all along. You're just playing stupid. But what she is trying to do is to latch on to other popular YouTube content creators, as she attempted to do with you, Cynthia G. But yet and still at the same time, you could not see the game that was being ran on you. Let me pump the brakes for a second. Let me cut the AC off. Foresight. What is it to have good foresight? To be able to see long term. As I've told you, Cynthia G, Crystal and Carrison, Chrissy, these are individuals who only can focus on one subject. They're not well versed at anything. They're not teachers in any way, shape, or form, because they lack the foresight not to even get themselves into bad situations. And just a prominent example of this, the very same group of men that Cynthia G is always ragging in on finds herself getting impregnated by that same classification of men. Just one example of how she lacks foresight is, number one, she couldn't see that coming. Because anybody with half a brain in their head would know that a man with 5 kids from 4 different women, that it probably would not be the wisest idea for you to now become the 5th woman with his 6th child. That just doesn't make any sense. And what happened when this got exposed back in 2018? Instead of her actually admitting to the fact that she dropped the ball, that she's ill-qualified, she doesn't fit the criteria, you don't have the goddamn credentials, let alone the track record, to speak on the subject matters in which you talk about. What she decides to do is, because I told you before, they're completely delusional. Logic and reason is something that's completely devoid of their brain altogether. They don't comprehend this concept. They have no critical thinking skills, none whatsoever. This is the only reason why she can double down on foolishness like this and not see the problem with that and how that fucks up your credibility. But number one, she couldn't see that was a dumb decision to find herself getting impregnated by Robert Perkins. Number two, she couldn't even see the very same person who sold her out and exposed her black ass, which was not a black man. This is a black woman. And I'm almost damn sure guaranteeing the reason why Well, one of the reasons why that female decided to go forth and expose Cynthia G for who and what she was, because she could see how dishonest you are. How the hell do you get online and espouse the opinions that you can espouse day in and day out about black men on a regular basis, but yet you find yourself in a dusty situation your damn self? You are not qualified to speak on the subject. Now, if you had foresight, you would have never ended up dealing with Robert Perkins. I don't care if you want to sleep with the guy. You ain't going to produce children by him. A man that told you he was not looking to be with you like that. What were you thinking? If you had foresight, you would have known that maybe I need not to be telling everybody my business, or maybe I need to look out for this woman that I'm talking to right now, because this might come back to bite me on the ass. But since Cynthia G is condescending, since Cynthia G is self-centered, has no problem not only talking to black men any way she feels fit and being reckless with her goddamn mouth, but would also talk reckless to black women. The same shit you see her conduct on her live streams, oh yeah, she'll do that in her personal life. And will piss off the wrong person and find herself getting exposed as she did. If you have good foresight, you know that if somebody has this kind of information on you, and I'm not saying this is what actually happened, but it wouldn't surprise me if she pissed this individual off and they said, you know, I'm going to just expose you for the hypocrite that you are. And if somebody has this kind of information on you, then it is probably best, if you have foresight, that you don't upset them. Because at any given time, this can be used against you. Those are just, two examples. Example number 3 of how she doesn't have the foresight, and why I say, Cynthia G, you are not qualified to speak on the subject matter. You're just not. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I'm going to take this back to my beef with Sotomayor. Y'all seen my beef with Sotomayor back in 2015. Okay? Comparing that to Cynthia G and Crystalline Carrison, me and Sotomayor started off on a good foot. That's how that happened. We started off on a good foot. We did video collaborations together one year, and then the following year we were at odds with each other. The year after that, he reached out to me and apologized. I showed y'all all of those screenshots within that production I made back in March pertaining to Kevin Samuels and Sotomayor. I showed y'all those screenshots. I told you that when he first sent me the text message, I didn't know who it was, so I responded, who is this? And then he told me his name. I said, okay. I've told y'all this years ago. The reason why I responded with okay is due to the fact that I'm acknowledging the fact that you reached out to me and apologized. However, I do not accept that apology. And there's a reason why I've told y'all that I would never. And the thing is, when this whole thing first happened between me and Sotomayor, I had black men saying, oh, this is probably a stunt for publicity. Trying to get more views and subscriptions. You'll probably see them in a week or two sitting at a restaurant somewhere having drinks talking about this is how black men unite. I said, no, that's not me. I'm not an attention whore. So you will never find me go that far to get goddamn attention. It's just, that's not who I am. So the year later when he reached out to me, I did not accept the apology. I acknowledged that it was there, but I did not accept it. And as I've told y'all, I would never befriend him again. Now, mind you now, that's having foresight. And me and Tommy Sotomayor started off on a good note. Crystalline Carrison and Cynthia G never started off on a good note. So it is completely delusional and illogical and a complete devoid of critical thinking and having foresight for two individuals who literally were at odds of each other. And this is how y'all came into contact with one another. And y'all seen this shit back in 2016. Y'all seen it. They were literally making videos. I mean, Crystalline Carrison went off to pretty much show, had a video series calling her Miss Doll Hair. Would garnish weaves in the fucking video mocking Cynthia G. These are personal attacks. Now let me go ahead and go back into the Sotomayor situation with me and the reason why I would never befriend him again, ever. Now, depending on how if that situation would have turned out a lot different, then that would be a different story. Had Sotomayor, and listen, as I stated this before, I'm not knocking him for feeling the way he felt. It's the way he handled it is the reason why I'm knocking him. If he felt the need to reach out to me and say, hey man, I understand that Lisa Love was trying to create a video collage of people giving me a birthday shout out, and you told her you didn't want to give me a birthday shout out. I feel some kind of way behind that, and I don't think we can go forward from this point on. We just gonna have to go separate ways. That would have been fine. That's something that can be all right. If a year later he wanted to reach out and say, hey, you know what, let's squash this. No big deal. Had he decided to go forth and go public with it and say, the brother of logic and common sense, we linked up last year, we had a good time, but he didn't want to do a birthday shout out for me. So I feel some kind of way behind that. And behind that, listen, I cannot vibe with that brother anymore. So we're just going to have to go our separate ways. Yeah, I came to New York, but I didn't want to be around him. You know what? That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Had he stuck to what actually happened, that's fine. If he wanted to reach out a year later and say, hey, maybe we should squash this. Okay, no big deal. But that's not what happened. Let me tell you what Tommy Sotomayor did, and y'all seen it. And I'm not going to run down everything that happened, but what I will say is this. What Tommy Sotomayor did was launch a premeditated attack against me to the point of slander. Now, had I not had my ducks in a row, he could have spun that narrative any way he felt fit. And damn near every last one of you would have believed him. And how do I know this? Because I had endless lames showing up to my comment thread. Oh man, you lame, man. You just hating on the dude. You hating. I hadn't even responded yet. But when I finally responded a week later and showcased documentation after documentation after documentation, now that's a whole other story now, isn't it? And the reason why I won't befriend him. Now, had he simply stuck to what happened and stuck to the actual events, then that's fine, because we're arguing what took place with those events. We disagree with that. I feel I don't have to give a birthday shout out, or not feel I'm not giving birthday shout out. I just don't do that. You can feel any way you want to feel behind it. That's fine. We can agree or agree to disagree on that. That's fine. But that's not what happened. And when somebody goes out their way to launch a premeditated attack against me, to showcase that they will intentionally go out their way to hurt me, then I can't move forward past that point. Listen, you get me once, okay, it's on you. You get me twice, they ain't gonna be no twice. What I said, get me once, joke's on you. You get me twice, joke's on me. No, you get me once, it's on you. To get me twice, it ain't gonna be no twice. It's only one time this shit happens. See, that's a matter of having foresight. That's a matter of knowing that, nah, dude, you're not somebody that I can get along with. Nah, dude, you're not somebody that I can move forward with, because the next time you decide to cross me again, you're only going to be smarter when you do it next time. And that can lead to problems if you don't have all your ducks in a row, because it can be very difficult for you to overcome those odds, because now they know what you're capable of doing and how you can defend yourself. This is why you do not befriend somebody who will go out their way, or forgive somebody who will go out their way to intentionally hurt you. Now, you can say, you know what, we ain't gonna beef with each other anymore. You go your way and I go mine, and that's it. You can do that. But friends, done. We ain't never doing that shit ever again. That's a matter of lacking foresight. Once again, I don't brag to have a college degree, because I don't. I'm not college educated. I'm a trades brother. I'm a blue collar brother. But yet here you have a woman with an advanced degree, okay, claims to be a teacher of black women, breaking down the psychologies of black male pathology, the behaviors of black men, because this is what she specializes in. As a matter of fact, I've heard her boast and brag about her degree in psychology time and time again when it comes down to people that she has come on her channel so she can debate. But yet you are such a teacher now. You have such this advanced degree in studying the human brain and psychology, but yet and still you could not see, you lack the foresight in its entirety to know that it would be an unwise decision to now befriend a woman that just 6 years ago that I was literally at odds with, going in on personal attacks against. You see, only somebody who lacks foresight in its entirety, someone who logic, reasoning, critical thinking that's completely voided of you. When you can go ahead and befriend your enemy, somebody who doesn't like you, because that's the fact of the matter. Crystal Carrison never liked you. She never liked you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Cynthia G. Is this thing on? But that's situation number 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. That you could not see this shit coming and would foolishly walk into a situation like this. And like I told y'all, these are women who are mentally disturbed in the head. They have, boy. What lets you know that Cynthia G was completely caught off guard by this is her response. Look at the title in her response, the title of the video in her response. Really, Crystalline? I thought we were cool. Cynthia G couldn't believe this. She was completely astonished by this. Caught off guard. Bewildered. Bamboozled. Befounded. How could you do this to me, Crystalline Carrison? I thought we were best of buddies. I thought we decided to bury the hatchet when you came to my channel and showed me support. I thought we were good friends. How could you do this to me when I gave you shout-outs and wanted to do collaborations with you? How could you do this to me when you have left money on my Patreon and put money on my Super Chats? I could have sworn that was a clear indication that we were now best of friends. See, somebody who lacks foresight, somebody who is not a critical thinker, someone who cannot see, who fails to recognize pattern and fails to recognize when somebody's running game on you, finds herself under the circumstances of a Cynthia G, getting caught off guard, getting completely bent over the way she did, and getting just being had with no lube. Caught completely off guard. How is this happening to me? With a stupid ass title like this. Are you serious? But this is supposed to be a woman who, your elites, your intelligent black women. The one who understands the pathologies of black men. So busy analyzing the pathology of black men, but fails to realize when an enemy is creeping up in close quarters of you. If you were in a physical war, you'd be dead by now, Cynthia G. If you were on a real battlefield, we'd be writing your obituary. Why? Because you lack the ability to be able to analyze and process on a basic level, basic instinct, to understand that somebody that I was at odds with, why is it that all of a sudden you're coming over here now? Because what the lie that's being told is that, well, at one point Cynthia G was a pro-black. No, wrong again. Cynthia G was never a pro-black. Now she'll say that, I was at one point in time caping for black men and I had that black male worship ideology. Wrong once again. You see, some of y'all might not know who this woman is. Now, I don't know whether she has her videos up from 2015. She was on the YouTube scenes since 2015. And I had a problem with her then. Did I say 2016? No, 2015. I had a problem with her then. As a matter of fact, I even addressed some of the shit she stated at that time. Now, I will say this much. This is what took place. Cynthia G was a bit more balanced at that time because she did talk about white supremacy. She made a lot of video content talking about that. But also what she did in addition was talk about black men. Now, let's just go ahead and look at the scale ratio that she talked about white supremacy versus the amount of time she talked about black men. White supremacy, I would say she talked about a quarter of the time. Black men, she talked about 3/4 of the time. The reason why she stopped doing this is because white guys got tired of her running off at the mouth talking about white supremacy. She got on a live stream, and how did I find out about this? Because the pink pill actually got on a live stream and was explaining this. Here you have a female, I'm not going to mention her name, but had an issue with me, but now is crying because she was defending black men, but is no longer employable because of black men. Which, don't let that fool you either. So then I go to Cynthia G's panel and I actually find the goddamn live stream. And there she is crying, saying she wishes she can go back to what it was before she ever even got on YouTube, and wishes she never had got on YouTube, and masks those tears under the guise of claiming to defend black men. No, Cynthia, you was never a defender of black men. And stated the reason why you were upset at that time is because when them white dudes started coming at you, black men were not coming to your defense. For those of y'all who felt so sorry for Cynthia G, for Irene Yvette, or Yvette Irene, if I'm saying her name right, who would say, oh, Cynthia G only wants to see the best for black men. Stop. At some point, y'all gotta stop trying to sell this soap and pipe dream as if this is actual reality. Cynthia G has always been a hater of black men. And this is one of the things I found most egregious, and this is back from 6 fucking years ago, 2015, and I responded to this. She made a video literally telling black men that we should bend over and spread their butt cheeks to white men because we exude so much weakness. This is literally what she stated. Now, tell me, what about that sounds like a pro-black who actually is defending or a defender of black men? Tell me what? Because this shit literally makes no goddamn sense. But this is what we are dealing with. An individual who has always had this level of disdain toward black men. Now, the only difference is she just spends 100% of her time going in on black men. And we're going to showcase this later on in this production. Before, it was a matter of going in on white dudes, but when she realized that wasn't going to happen because they ain't going to stand for that shit, what Cynthia G decided to do was go after a soft target, which are black men. Why? Because there's no real punishment behind going in on black men. You can talk reckless at your mouth, and understand, she says, I'm reckless at the mouth, only toward black men. She's not going to do that with them white boys. Why? Because them white boys will take your black ass to the woodshed and let you know exactly where the fuck you stand. And whether you like it or not, you will respect it. Then this is something else I've been trying to warn black men about. We need to be striving on getting power, not worrying about what these foolish, bitter females are saying about us online. But that's a subject for a later discussion. But now, once again, I want y'all to pay attention. This is a college-educated woman who could not see the fucking train wreck heading right into her front lawn. And all it took was for Crystal and Karazin to show up and talk nicely and say, hey, I like your clapbacks when it comes down to you going at black men. Hey, I put something in your super chat. Hey, I like your videos. Can we do a collaboration? Hey, I'm not beefing with you anymore. Can we be cool again? Or can we be cool? They never were cool to begin with. I want y'all to pay attention to that. And here you have a college-educated woman who sat on a panel with a Nyla Says, who sat on a panel with an Yvette Irene. If I'm not mistaken, both of these are college-educated women who Nyla Says, from what was being stated, her husband, I don't know whether they married or what, her boyfriend, husband, her man, Taz, exclusives, went out his way to defend Crystal and Karazin. Now, Taz, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he classifies himself as a pro-black. Once again, which showcases this really has nothing to do with him, but it lets you know how you are dealing with individuals who have zero critical thinking skills, none whatsoever. Because according to what's being stated, after he went out his way to defend the pink pill, she had his channel flagged down. Are these supposed to be the individuals that are going to lead the black community into the promised land? Man, listen. Shit. If that's the case, I'll take my chances somewhere else, because this shit is done for. But out of all of these individuals, you would figure that somebody would have been guiding. And you would figure a man, if nothing else, would have been like, listen, Sin, that's probably not a good idea that you get involved with this woman. You probably would be better off leaving her alone. You figure what Nyla says would have said this. And Irina Yvette, no, I wouldn't expect her to say this because let me just leave that one alone. Anyhow, the only one that picked up on this was Woman's Fear. The only one, I'm going to repeat that again. The only one who picked up on this was Black Woman's Fear. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe Black Woman's Fear has a college degree of any sort. And this is not to throw shade at her. Black Woman's Fear is admittedly a convicted felon. So what I'm trying to figure out, and I want y'all to compare this, and I say this only for the sole purpose of comparing this. How is it that a convicted felon has more foresight, has more critical thinking than one who claims to be who has a degree in psychology and is literally giving you the breakdown on Black male pathology? How is it that you couldn't see this, but a woman who's a convicted felon was able to see this? And furthermore, because I remember when this shit first happened, when they all had that live stream, and Woman's Fear came out and said, listen, there was a reason why I wasn't on that panel, because you can't trust her. Woman's Fear, who has already had close interactions with the pink pill. So this just goes to show you that even when you have a direct source telling you, listen, don't go down that path, that's a bad idea, yet and still a college-educated female who boasts and brags about this advanced degree in psychology every chance she gets, teaching you about Black male pathology, completely fails to listen to her good friend on social media and telling you don't go down that goddamn path. What the fuck does that say about you? How the hell, with these credentials and this level of fuck-ups on a basic level, I could teach a damn 2-year-old to be able to navigate through this shit better than you did? A 37-year-old woman. And with all that taking place, I'm just going to come out and say, how are you teaching Black women what? How to make the same fucked up decisions that you have? Listen, you're not qualified. You do not have the goddamn, you don't possess the credentials. Damn the college degree. You have zero common sense at this point in time. No credibility as far as I'm concerned. No logic and reasoning, no critical thinking. You are not qualified to teach the subjects that you claim to preach about. You're unqualified. So once again, this goes right back into what I have previously stated in my last production, that any young Black woman who listens to this foolishness, listens to females that have a negative spirit to them, have a negative vibe, are condescending to other women now who they claim to be teaching them about the pathologies of Black men. If you believe that you are going to sit down and take something knowledgeable, useful, that you are going to learn, it's going to propel you into today's world, and you're going to go out there and become a success, you got another fucking thing coming. These individuals who you are following are not qualified to speak on the subject matters in which they talk on. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. They come from a place of anger. They come from a place of bitterness. It is not a partial opinion or perspective that they give. These are already slanted and jaded perspectives that they're giving you based off of their fucked up experiences that they have willfully and voluntarily put themselves in. That anybody with half a goddamn brain would have seen that's just not what that is. Or would have not walked into that situation. Now let's go ahead and address Kendall St. Charles, also known as Brooklyn Blue. And this is something that really gets on my goddamn nerves. Because what I understand about this live stream that her and the Pink Pill had somewhere around 5 to 8 hours. I didn't see it. Of course, everything is taken down now, so you're not going to see it. Oh, let me back up for a second. Let me back up. Bring that back. Let me back up for a second. I damn near forgot. I got to go ahead and say this when it comes down to the Pink Pill. And this is how her credibility has been damaged. Because there was another live stream she had on the Clubhouse. And she was addressing Mr. E after the comments that he made when it came down to this random black dude who was able to get him to really showcase how you really fucking feel. Mr. E, thanks for showing us. And the Crystal and Carrison was trying to tell other wannabe swirlers that this is stuff that you're going to have conversations like this when you date outside the race. Then I'm going to ask you the question, is it really worth it? If this is what you have to go through. It's one thing to not be educated about something, but when you come out and you say something like that, no, that's not something that you need to educate a man. Looking at this man who clearly looks to be either in his late 40s or somewhere to the early to mid 50s. To where you have to teach a grown-ass fucking man in his 40s, late 40s to 50s, to not use the N-word. But now, what I listened to when that clip from the Clubhouse was posted, which I believe it's either been set to private or it's been flagged down since, because I can't find it. What I've witnessed is that this was a scolding against Mr. E. This was a scolding. And what she was trying to explain, she was trying to get him a way out. Oh, he's not racist, and let me explain why. And what she stated was, what happened was a black man came into the panel and insulted me. And Mr. E, trying to protect me, which he wasn't, met him at his level. And what she means by met him at his level is, yeah, I guess I am a nigger lover. Make that make sense. Without her even being able to finish the sentence, he immediately cuts her off and not backs down to say, I'm sorry, I was out of line. That shouldn't have happened. I don't know what I was thinking. No, he doesn't back down. What he does is he doubles down. And he says, well, I will meet him at his level. I will do it each and every time. So as she was saying, well, what he did was meet him at his level. And he said, yes, and I will do it each and every time. This is something else that furthermore damages your credibility. Now, what I want y'all to notice, before that statement was even made, what she had him do, because like I told y'all, this was a scolding. She was taking him to the woodshed. What she had him describe, he said, Mr. E, I want you to tell my audience right now how you feel about me, what you think of me. And he pretty much said a whole bunch of nice things and how much he loves her and how she's the most amazing person he's ever met. And as she tried to explain that, listen, what he tried to do was to defend me, and he met him, this guy at his level, and he said, I will do it each and every time. Once again, not backing down, but doubling down, which furthermore fucks up her credibility. Which furthermore shows you she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about when it comes down to teaching you how to get fucking white guys, because you didn't even know how to properly select these damn dudes. You met this man in a matter of months or weeks. You decided to bring him out on a public platform that you know people are going to tear your ass apart. You know you were dealing with sharks and lions in this. You know this. And yet you decided to bring his ass out here so he can be devoured along with your stupid. Let me just pump the brakes for a second. Because the level of stupidity is outright outstanding. To think that somebody can get online, a woman in her mid-40s, college educated, and can get online and be this fucking stupid is outstanding to me. I mean, where the hell else would you get this shit? Hollywood screenwriters could not produce this shit. And this would furthermore explain why she's sitting online crying, talking about how black women ruined her life and how your mother should have swallowed you. Maybe you need to apply that to yourself, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to leave that one alone. These are your failures. This is a matter of lacking foresight. And by having this guy get online saying what he stated, that right there only puts holes in your narrative that you have these white guys coming out here to protect you. That's not protection. That showcases that, no, this guy really is letting you know how he fucking feels. Now, I'm almost certain that, listen, I'm certain that this is not the first time. The fact that he felt comfortable saying this publicly, this is not the first time he's said this shit to her. So once again, I ask black women, who are you being led by? Because these individuals can't even see on a basic level that you couldn't even vet this man properly for him not to get online. If you have to teach him not to say some dumb shit like this, then you shouldn't be with him. He's not the white guy that you should be with. If you as a black woman have to teach a white man how not to call you a nigger or refer to you as such, then listen, that's not the guy for you to be with. Go find you another white guy if you have to be with white guys. But when you lack foresight and when you're so fucking desperate to prove yourself to people who literally can care less, and I'm talking about yours truly, the brother of logic and common sense. Why do I say this? Because she unblocked me because she wanted me to see this. I don't care who you're dating. But when you're going out your way to showcase to people who you don't know, people who live on completely different time zones from you, and yet you think it's a wise idea to showcase to people that you don't know your personal life, wow, that shows you, I mean, my question to any woman is, why would you follow somebody who thinks on a childlike level? Crystalline Karazin has not evolved past that teenage stage of her life. She has not evolved. She is still mentally and emotionally and psychologically immature. There's no other way I can say this. Now let me get back to Cynthia G for a second. Because the fact of the matter is, Crystalline Karazin used you. The fact of the matter is she knew her platform wasn't gaining traction. Now Cynthia G has an audience. Cynthia G has a large following. We have to admit this. So what Crystalline Karazin is trying to do right now is find a way to latch on to somebody else who has a bigger audience than hers, or at least close enough to hers. Because what's the common denominator of what's being talked about with Kendall St. Charles and Crystalline Karazin? They're talking about they feel they're not getting the recognition that they deserve. We are the pioneers of this. I mean, what is this? The queen pins on the block? But they feel they deserve this recognition that they have not received. And all of these other women are using our talking point. And this is why they're saying, oh, Cynthia G stole my talking points, and classifying Cynthia G as a pro-black back in the days, which she never was. Ever. This is the same woman who got online. This is back from 6 fucking years ago in 2015. And I remember this because I responded to it. Who told black men that they should bend over and spread their butt cheeks and let white guys run up inside of them because they were so effeminate. This is the same female who wanted to compare black men and lump us all in the same category to a bunch of moist, effeminate, weak-ass black men on thug hunters, letting white guys catch and butt fuck these dudes. Are you serious? Because that's the woman that you're classifying as once as a pro-black. Oh, I've just evolved. No, you haven't. You've always been the same. Your content has never evolved. The only thing that you decided to do was remove another segment out of that content. Which at one point your content was a little bit more versatile. Now it's not. It's just stuck on one platform. That really isn't going anywhere. Because like I told y'all before, if y'all sitting around thinking that learning about a bunch of black men who don't date black women, who are not interested in you in the slightest, if you think understanding and breaking down and knowing the pathology of these men front and back and center is somehow going to benefit you in today's society, with everything taking place, with your governments literally engaging in tyranny, trying to mandate vaccinations on you, if you think that this is going to benefit you in today's day and age, then you truly are lost. There is nothing else that I can tell you. You're dumber than what I initially had given you credit for. These are not the people that you need to be looking at or listening to, because they can't lead you any fucking where. They don't know what they're talking about. This is why they stay on the same subject matter. They never switch up the snap count. It is the same shit over and over again. They don't switch it up because they're ill-equipped to engage in other subject matters, which are that much more important. As I've told y'all before. Well, better yet, let me put a pump on that. But let me get back to Brooklyn Blue, also known as Kendall St. Charles. This whole Cynthia G stole your talking points. No, I got to disagree with that. Now, I don't like Cynthia G, but I'm going to disagree on that. Because, listen, regardless of whatever my opinion is about Cynthia G, I will give her credit on just one thing. As foul as her mouth is, as much as I don't like what she espouses out of her reckless mouth, with all that recklessness coming out of her damn mouth, she at least has the courage to get online and show her fucking face. If she walked past me tomorrow, I would know who the hell that is. Kendall St. Charles, on the other hand, if she walked past me tomorrow, I would have no idea or no clue who the hell you are. Now, it's not to say that you need to get online and show your face, but what I'm trying to figure out, or let me make this comparison. Cynthia G has been on YouTube for years, showcasing her face, making live streams, producing video content. She has done this for years, as well as making audio content. Once again, leaving us to know who the hell she is. She has channels that can be referenced at any given moment. When you type in a damn name, you are going to find her content. So she can be located on social media. Kendall St. Charles, when was the last time someone was able to find her video content? The question that I'm asking is, how does a Kendall St. Charles have the audacity, let me turn this off for a second, have the audacity to sit up on a panel that's not even hosted by you, hosted by the Pink Pill, Crystalline Karazin, and then launch a complaint that someone else has taken your talking points, stealing your vernacular, not giving you credit and recognition because you the pioneer of this. First of all, you pop and duck your head in and out of YouTube whenever the hell you feel fit. You show up whenever the hell you're good and damn ready, and when the shit gets thick, all of a sudden you want to go crawl back inside of the hole that you done came out of whenever the fuck you get scared. You don't show your face. Nobody knows who the fuck you really are. You do all of this underground shit. Nobody can even reference your damn content. But yet and still, the fact that no one can reference your content, can't find your channel, can't find you on social media any way, shape, or form, you somehow think that you now have precedence over somebody who's been on YouTube for years showcasing who they are. You know what I'm gonna say to that? Bitch, go sit the fuck down somewhere with that stupid shit. You have not a damn leg to stand on. If you want recognition, if you want to be known and be respected or given credit for anything that you've done here online, that means you have to be consistent. Even if you don't put out videos as often as other people do, you at least have to have a channel that people can reference. People could go to the archives and say, okay, this is what she said this year. This is what she's saying that year. You have nothing that people can make a comparison to unless somebody fucking recorded the damn audio or the live streams and repost the shit. But we know those don't last because the first chance somebody reposts these shits, they get snatched down. So what I'll say once again, I would more or less expect that or accept that, better yet, out of Crystalline Karazin. To say, hey, I feel like I'm the one who's responsible for this and I deserve to get the recognition and credit and y'all need to bow down and pay homage to me. Hey, I don't agree with it, but you know what? I would be more prone to listen to it from her. Why? Because as nutty as her ass is, she shows her fucking face. We know who she is. We can reference her content. We can't reference yours, on the other hand. And since we can't reference your content or even who the hell you are for that matter, you do not get the privilege to get online and think that you are now owed this opulent level of respect that people are now supposed to bow down and recognize who you are and pay homage to you. Man, go sit the fuck down somewhere. Go crawl back, get back in your fucking hole. That's what I'm going to tell you. But now, just as an example of Kendall St. Charles, for those of y'all who want to listen to her, as I've told y'all, these are bitter, these are jaded females. They have nothing that they can offer you. The same female who sat in the live stream with the pink pill back in 2016 saying that black women should abort all black male babies. This is what they stated. I want you to think about that for a second. She's telling you as black women to abort your male babies. But now I remember a live stream that was done by the Cookie Monster, aka Cluster B, whatever she goes by, Nubian narcissist or whatever. She made a live stream going in on the pink pill and Kendall St. Charles. Made a couple of them, if I'm not mistaken. Mentioned how Kendall St. Charles has a son, a grown son. Her grown son, from what the Cluster B mentioned, is a full-fledged gay man. I want y'all to let that resonate in your heads for a second. You have a hatred of black men so much, but yet this is who you raise into manhood. A full-fledged gay man is your son. The point that the consistent thread that I'm referencing here is look at the track record of the individuals that you were listening to. Kendall St. Charles, a hater of black men and black babies, but yet reared a full-fledged gay man. And with some of that negative energy, that dark wisdom bullshit she talks about, would that have something to do with it? I wonder. Crystalline Karazin, a female who fucked up her previous marriage because she did not know how to keep her social media interactions separate from her personal life, who has found herself in endless squabbles, endless fallouts with countless other black women, and has secretly flagged channels down of other black women. A female who ruined her marriage because of her interactions on social media, and from the looks of it is going to ruin this relationship that she is in, or if not, hasn't already ruined this relationship based off of her not knowing how to keep her interactions off of social media private from her personal life. Then when you factor in her daughter, her oldest daughter, what's to become out of those 3 other children that she has? If Michael Karazin is smart, hopefully he has full custody of those kids. That way that doesn't end up happening. But what I'm showcasing to you is look at the track record of these individuals. A Cynthia G, an individual who lacks foresight on a basic level, has no inkling of common sense. This is how she can find herself, the same shit that she railroads against and condemns, would find herself now becoming a product of that very same environment. Now notice that these are seasoned veterans that I'm talking about. They didn't just get on YouTube yesterday. One who's been on YouTube for more than a decade. One who's been on YouTube for more than half a decade. Clearly, based off of how you talk about this, then you know better than to find yourself in that exact same situation, but yet find yourself in that situation. Find yourself in another situation where a woman who knows that you're having secret conversations with exposes this. So you lack foresight on a basic level. Find yourself beefing with Crystalline Karazin to all of a sudden befriend her because the enemy of my enemy now becomes my friend, just to find yourself being betrayed once again. I want you to think about this for a second. And the same thing can be said for Chrissy, because neither one of them had a pleasant upgrowing. Let me rephrase that. Neither one of them had a friendly start off with Crystalline Karazin or Brooklyn Blue for that matter. But yet the both of them decided to befriend these individuals who they already had a suspect reputation with, and thought somehow that was a good idea, and now are completely caught off guard. And I do you no better than Cynthia G's title. Really, Crystalline, I thought we were cool. Only somebody who has no critical thinking. Only somebody who has absolutely no foresight, zero, no foresight, none, finds himself putting up a title like this when they get caught off guard the way they did. Only somebody who is ill-qualified finds himself in this situation, being caught off guard and being taken advantage of, not able to see what the hell was going on and that this woman is using you based off of the clout that you have, which furthermore damages your credibility. Now, this will pretty much be my final talking point to this production, and I'm going to pretty much tie in how it really goes back into what I told y'all in the last production, that these are individuals who are not qualified to teach black women on any subject matter of what they talk about. These are individuals who would much rather waste time. They go after soft targets, and this is why they do what they do. They don't deal with the real issue in front of them. They go after soft targets. After this entire fallout that had taken place with this random black guy who managed to get Crystalline Carrison's new dude to act a complete fucking fool, Tanya TKO had decided to bring him onto her panel to have a live stream with both Crystalline Carrison and Cynthia G. Now, I didn't look at the entire live stream, so maybe I'm speaking out of terms here, but you know what? I'm going to go on a limb and speak on this anyway. And as I'm listening to this live stream, I'm listening to a man who cannot convey a proper sentence properly, who does not know how to articulate his thoughts properly. So I'm outlining the foundation of this. And this is after Crystalline Carrison had that long live stream that has now been taken down with Kendall St. Charles going in on Chrissy and Cynthia G. Now, the two of them are on this panel at the same time with this black guy, with this Julius character. This is also after Cynthia G made her response with the video title that I just described to you. Really, Crystalline? I thought we were cool. This happened afterward. And as I'm sitting down listening to this live stream, the dude is not making any goddamn sense. At some point in time, it sounds like he's talking to himself. I mean, it goes bad. It goes from bad to worse real fast. And I'm sitting back and I'm listening to this entire thing. Now, Crystalline Carrison asked him a few questions, but she didn't really ask him a whole lot. But what I noticed is that Cynthia G had a shitload of questions to ask this guy, literally interrogating this guy. And I'm thinking to myself, y'all remember what I told y'all in the last production? The problem that you face is in the other side of that fucking chat room. I told y'all in the last production, you were staring on the other side of that room and you have a demon breathing fire staring right at you that wants to devour you. Common sense tells you, and basic instinct tells you, you better find a way to either number one, slay that demon, or number two, you better find a way to get your ass out of there. Because this is not going to end up good for you if you don't acknowledge this situation. You have a serious problem on your hand and you need to acknowledge this. But instead, what's being acknowledged is, well, I'm going to pretend as if that demon doesn't even exist. And I'm going to go focus on something minuscule that really has nothing to do with nothing. And what I sat back and listened to, this is an example of what I'm talking about. That demon that sits in that room, that's the pink pill. Okay? You would figure if Cynthia G has anything to say to anybody, it would be the pink pill. But no, she doesn't do that. I mean, after all, it was the pink pill who went ahead and clowned you the way she did on her panel. And once again, if you would figure that if there's anything I'm going to address, I'm coming in here to address your ass. Or even if I choose not to do it here, listen, I want to set up a time for us to either come to my panel or your panel and we can discuss this. Are you willing to do that? And once you get an answer of yes, we can do that, or no, I'm not going to do that, then we're going to have to address this here. But if I was in a situation of what Cynthia G found herself in, the last thing I'm coming into that panel to do is addressed as Julia's character. I don't give a fuck about what he's talking about, because what he's talking about is irrelevant. What I'm saying is this: Cynthia G had more smoke for this Julia's character. She interrogated this Julia's character. She found herself getting frustrated with this Julia's character. But the one who went out and literally embarrassed your ass is right on the other side of that fucking panel, and you don't address it. Like I told you, common sense, basic instincts, critical thinking on the most basic of levels is null and void when it comes down to these individuals. They completely are devoid of this. This is why you can look at somebody who literally went out their way to hurt you on numerous occasions, and instead of you addressing that, who slandered you, oh, you stealing my talking point, literally is trying to set the stage to fuck you over, and instead of addressing that figure, now I got to get this shit under control. You decide the most important thing that you should deal with is a no-name individual who is on this panel who shouldn't have even been in the first place. And if he was going to be there, he should have been there no longer than 5 minutes. Get the hell out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. You sound stupid right now. Get off this goddamn panel. Once again, what you have witnessed in that situation was Cynthia G go after what was a soft target. Somebody that she can talk over, somebody that she can run laps around, someone that she can literally embarrass, get frustrated, and get him to completely act out of character. When you sit back and listen to that shit, and the way he's getting frustrated, don't play with me, boy, I'm passionate about this. I remember. Nigga, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. And then Tanya TKO, you would figure her, oh my God, I'm trying to be respectful here. Let me take a deep breath. You would figure that Tanya TKO, after telling this guy numerous times, stop cutting me off, stop interrupting, you will get your chance to speak. You would figure after numerous times of that, after the third time, she should have let his ass go, because y'all asked the questions and got the answers that y'all already needed out of him. What was the purpose of having him on that panel other than to waste time beyond that point? I want y'all to think about this. This is what you're dealing with. So that right there substantiates, and this went on for a long enough period of time to the point where I got a fucking headache. And once they finally booted his ass out of the room, I said, I'm not gonna listen to no more of this shit. I can't. It's a fucking headache. It's irritating to me for me to sit up and listen to this. Oh, but before I go any further, just goes to show you how these individuals, they lack such foresight that they will allow people who are a danger to them have access to them, to their personal contact information. Now, y'all remember, I told y'all back in 2015, before I had that debate with Crystal and Carrison, I was on a 3-way phone conference with the Chad Factor. Upon the exit of that phone conference, she offered me her number. I just said, all right, I'll get it from Chad. I never took the number. Don't care to have it. Don't care to talk to you. I'm not giving you that kind of access to me to have my personal number so you can be able to contact me whenever you want to. I don't trust you. You are a dangerous individual. But yet I'm sitting back and I'm listening in not only Chrissy's live stream, but Cynthia G's live stream about how, oh, well, I can pull out the receipts. I got the text messages from when we had this conversation. Well, wait a second. There's only one way you're going to have text messages. And that is as if you actually exchange personal numbers. So this just goes to show you how clueless these individuals are. That they will let somebody who is in outright danger have personal access to your personal number. What else personal can the pink pill get if she really wanted to? I mean, Cynthia G was the same one who sat up in her live stream saying, well, you invited me to California. We were supposed to hang out together. This is just how, oh my God, you can't be this fucking stupid in 2021. It's frustrating thinking that individuals who classify themselves as being teachers are this goddamn stupid. But once again now, black women, ask yourself, who are you being taught by? Who are you allowing to teach you? You are allowing idiots who are unqualified to now prompt their asses up on a fucking live stream and say that they're somehow your teachers and breaking down psychology. You couldn't even break down a cardboard fucking box, let alone blackmail pathology. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Go sit down somewhere. This shit is embarrassing at this point in time. Because as I told you, as I'm sitting back listening to this live stream where they got this Julius character on there, Julius is a soft target. You really shouldn't even have much to say to him, and it would have made more sense if Crystalline Carrison was interrogating him the way Cynthia G was. Why? Because this directly impacted Crystalline Carrison's situation. So had she been interrogating him, that'd have made just a bit more sense, but she wasn't. Cynthia G had more smoke for this guy than anybody else on that fucking panel. She had more smoke for this, a no-name dude who she doesn't know and who he doesn't know. They don't know each other from a can of goddamn paint. But the woman who literally tried to throw you, or who successfully threw your dumb ass under the goddamn bus, you had no smoke for. Make fucking sense out of that. Once again, this is who you're being led by. These are the people who classify themselves as teachers somehow, instructors, advisors, informers, a coach, a guru of some sort to black women. My question is, how the hell do you find yourself as a teacher in any way, shape, or form, and you sit on panels and you waste fucking time? That's all that was. Having that dude on that panel, after understanding that he can't articulate his thoughts properly, he cannot convey a proper sentence, he cannot speak without getting emotional and getting bent out of goddamn shape. Once you realize that he can't do this, at this point in time, it's a waste of fucking time. It's a waste of goddamn time. And see me, this is another reason why I haven't done a live stream yet. Now I'm contemplating on what I'm going to do one. But if I do so, I'm not having people this stupid coming on the live stream and battling on. It's just not happening. I ain't got no patience for it. I'm going to give you but one time to make sense out of what you're saying. You start rambling on and mumbling, I'm booting your ass off that live stream. Just that simple. Better yet, I'll give you one example. And this is an example between somebody who wastes time, which was done on the Tanya TKO show, which Tanya TKO wasted time, and somebody who is right down to the point. When you listen to the Black Authority, aka Jason Black's programs, and you can hear these people calling in, they mumbling and muffling around with their goddamn phone, fumbling all over the goddamn place. What does he tell them? For those of you who have watched his program, he has a very strict criteria on what he expects if you wish to be able to call into that program. I expect you not to have your phone on speakerphone. I expect you to be ready when I bring you into the line. Because if that doesn't happen, what does he tell him? Listen, your mic is kind of muffled here. I'm going to give you one chance to get that figured out. If not, I'm going to have to let you go. Okay, I've given you a chance. Call us back when you got that situation taken care of. See, there's a difference, and I reference that set of actions because that's a difference between being straight to the point and knowing whether this is something worthwhile addressing versus, this is probably a waste of my goddamn time. As I told y'all, this is a complete waste of time. Cynthia G looked for a soft target, somebody that she can run laps around, somebody she can dance around, somebody she can make a goddamn fool out of. That's what a coward does. A bully does shit like that. Because somebody who's a true intellectual wouldn't even waste their time debating with this guy. You would ask a handful of questions, and when you see his response like that, you would say, all right, I'm done. I don't have nothing more to say to him. You can just get him off the line. But a bully would sit around and try to make an example and showcase, see, look how smart I am. No, that means nothing. That's not a challenge. Debate somebody that's on your level. That's a challenge. You go ahead and you can debate somebody on your level and make a fool out of them. That's a different story. You can actually brag about that. You bragging over that shit there, this Julius character, that ain't nothing to be proud of. A goddamn toddler could have done that shit. So when you think that I'm going to showcase and expose the pathologies of these low vibrational Negroes, no, that's nothing. You haven't done anything. And I'm going to give you an example. In my high school days, I was a basketball player. I used to love playing basketball. I didn't care to play with people who were not on my level. I'm not saying I was the greatest basketball player. I would say I was decent. I was pretty good. But I used to love to play with people who were either on my level or better. And the reason why I love doing that is because it gave me a challenge. It made me better. Because if I played with people that were not on my level, I'm not going to get better. Because this becomes redundant. This is not an exercise to me. When you go to the gym, you look for resistance, real resistance, in order to gain strength and muscle. It is the same thing when you exercise anything else. So I knew when I was playing with dudes who were older than me, with dudes who were better than me, it's only a matter of time before I become either just as good as them or better. It's a challenge. It's an exercise. A Cynthia G sitting on a panel debating this Julius guy, interrogating his ass as if he committed a goddamn crime, as if he actually done something personal to her, that is a complete waste of your time. Now there's a saying that goes, many people have used it here on YouTube. I've never used it. And the saying goes something like this: I only debate my intellectual equals. Everyone else I teach. I'm going to repeat that statement one more time. The phrase goes, I only debate my intellectual equals. Everyone else I teach. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I have never used that statement, nor will you ever hear me using it. It's just me personally. It's a very arrogant statement, and it's just something that I just feel is not a good fit for me. So I choose not to use it. I'm not knocking anybody else who does, but it's just something that I'm not going to use. But I do understand why, or the meaning and the contents behind this statement. Because when somebody is not on your intellectual level, for you to sit around debating somebody and trying to make a mockery of them and trying to clown that individual, that's equivalent to a senior in high school dunking on a bunch of fucking junior high schoolers. That's what that's equivalent to. That's like LeBron James showing up at a high school playing a bunch of fifth graders and dunking on these fifth graders thinking, oh yeah, look at me. That's like a 30-year-old man showing up into a high school and wrestling a bunch of teenage kids and beating them and thinking he's accomplished something. No, that's not an accomplishment. That's what you call weakness. That's a waste of time. That doesn't impress anybody. You got to go in there and showcase that you can deal with people on your level or better and beat them. That's impressive. So when we watch Cynthia G exercise this exercise in fertility, so to speak, I might have fucked that one up too, but anyhow, when you watch her exercise this tit swinging contest of her being such this, I mean, I really don't know what she is showcasing, but the bottom line is I had to explain that to you. I want those who actually follow her, who think that you are going to gain anything out of this. And those who think like her, whether it be the Pink Pill, also known as Crystalline Carrison, whether it be Kendall St. Charles, aka Brooklyn Blue, or whether it be Chrissy, or any other content creator who produces content on this level, this BWE, Black Women's Empowerment, divestment, swirling, whatever. If you believe with everything that I have described to you that you are going to get something tangible out of any of these channels, listening to what they're doing, picking debates with people who are not on their level, picking debates with just pretty much just showcasing that, hey, I can bulldoze through some weak-minded people and feeble people, you're not going to get anything out of that. This is not going to be information that's going to teach you any goddamn thing. And what you're going to realize after you think that you become this great scholar in the class of the Pink Pill or in the class of black male pathology, what you're going to realize is when you get out there in the real world, is that this is equivalent to that meaningless degree that you got when you were in college on liberal arts and studies. What you're going to realize is when you go ahead, you apply for those jobs, and this is, I'm theoretically speaking now, just making a comparison or making an analogy, better yet. When you go out and you try to apply for a job and you think you are so accomplished and I made it, look at me, I went through this course and I got this, and they tell you, no, we can't hire you because that's not the information that we're looking for. These are not the credentials that we're looking for. Sorry, at the end of the day, you're just simply not qualified. And that is equivalent of what I'm saying when it comes down to the pink pill, aka Crystalline Carrison, Brooklyn Blue, aka Kendall St. Charles, Cynthia G, or Chrissy. These individuals are not qualified to be leaders or teachers of Black women collectively when they can't even lead or teach themselves in their everyday lives. And the fact that we've looked at all of this foolishness that shows that you lack common sense on the most basic of levels, the most basic of instincts to protect yourself, to keep negative energy out of your circles, the fact that y'all lack this in every way, shape, and form. I tell you once again that you are not qualified to speak on the subject matters in which you do. And for any young lady thinking that you are going to go forth and go and listen to these individuals and think you are going to learn something tangible moving forward in 2021, then you're going to have another thing coming. And with that being stated, that is all that I have to say in this production. And I will catch y'all on a later date.